Hi, friend, and welcome to another Chat on Fire. After watching the complete series of Squid Game as part of the learning experience for today's Guan on Fire episode, I couldn't help but make another video on financial wellness and the psychology of money. First, let me reiterate that watching Squid Game is bad for your psychological health. If you must, go into it like you would go into a horror fiction movie, knowing it's not real and the real world does not operate like how it does in the show. So let's talk zero-sum game. By its basic definition, a zero-sum game is where there has to be a winner and a loser. Most childhood games are zero-sum games. Think rock, paper, scissors, or Connect Four, or tag, or musical chairs. But you're an adult now, and you know that the world operates on nuance and is much more complex than you understood it as a child. The world economy does not operate like a casino. You are smart and understand that one person doesn't have to take from another in order to win or gain in life. To become rich, you do not have to take advantage of the poor. Let me give you an example. The average physician takes out over $200,000 in student loans. They sacrifice an average of 80 hours a week of prime income earning years in their teens and 20s to study and work for maybe about $10 to $15 an hour in the hospital. We go into this field for a few reasons: to provide an important service to society with our medical expertise and to earn a great wage. It truly is a win-win. First, you need to stop believing that it is wrong to want to make money. It is not a bad thing to request fair payment from your employer for the excellent services that you provide, especially for the sacrifices that you've made along the way. And when you make a good wage, you're not necessarily taking from someone else. If you can be productive and make life better for folks, it is totally reasonable to be paid for that. When a farmer sells her vegetables at the market, no one bats an eye and thinks that she is taking advantage of someone else for taking payment for her produce. Wanting to earn a higher income by providing more valuable services to society does not make you a bad person. Being a brain surgeon that works 80 hours a week, or a computer programmer that makes apps that streamline our lives and making hundreds of thousands of dollars for the high value service that you provide is totally appropriate. Being a high income earner doesn't make you a bad person, especially if the service that you provide immensely benefits society. Now, let me give you an amazing example of growth of the economy and what this means for you as an investor. Remember how in the medieval days, salt was really expensive? Or in the early 20th century, only really rich people had cars? Or in the 1950s, only really rich people had TVs? Or in the 80s, only really rich people had cell phones and computers? Now, the news that usually gets fed to us is that the rich are getting richer. And that is totally true. The rich are definitely getting richer. But you know who else is getting richer? The middle class. Even the lower middle working class. It is also true that the rich are getting richer faster than the folks in the middle and lower class, but almost everyone in America is actually getting richer, even if it doesn't feel like it. I fact-checked this with the Pew Research Center, and from 1970 to 2000, the median three-person household income rose from $50,200 to $70,800 a year. And this is adjusted for inflation using what the dollar was worth in 2018. From 2000 to 2018, the rise was a bit more modest, just up from $70,800 to $74,600. Again, this is adjusted for inflation. There are a few factors that can explain this. First, let's talk about technology. When technology makes our lives easier, we can actually get more done. Think about farm technology. Imagine if you had to grow your own crops or your own livestock, or worse, if you had to spend your days hunting and gathering what you needed. Imagine living in a world where you had to fetch your water from the stream every day. How much could you really get done? If you think Whole Foods is expensive, imagine a world where there are no grocery stores. Food and water are so convenient now in the first and second world that sometimes we can even take it for granted. If it wasn't for farming technology, you bet that many more people will be struggling, even more than current numbers today. Now, since most folks in the first and second world don't have to worry about food, we can focus our efforts on providing other services or making other goods that people would want or find useful. Imagine now how much more we can get done since we have buses or even cars to get to work faster, where you don't have to walk that much anymore. There are now more hours in a day to be productive and earn more money. And now with computers and the internet, we can get even more done. Doesn't take us long to look up stuff. We don't have to go check on an article in the encyclopedia at the library every time we want to fact check or learn something new. We can just Google it or even YouTube it. With faster computers that are able to do more, engineers are able to design more complex devices. Imagine yourself making an iPhone. You think $1,000 is expensive? Imagine designing it, getting all the raw materials yourself. How many dollars or hours do you think it would take you to make an iPhone? The average wage earner in the United States can make $1,000 in less than a week. Can the average person design, gather materials for, and make an iPhone in less than a week? I don't think so. You can buy a dozen eggs for $2. As an average wage earner, can you make a dozen eggs every 5 minutes? Even as a minimum wage worker, can you make a dozen eggs in 8 minutes? I know I definitely cannot make an iPhone or an egg or most of the stuff that I buy, but I can provide excellent medical expertise, and in exchange, I can pay other experts for these items. Now, that is the beauty of a thriving economy, where people can become more and more specialized, and we can all collaborate together to do really wonderful things for society. Every day, folks are working to help make lives easier, to allow people to do more or have more free time. And back to my example of the rich person in the past with the car, TV, cell phone, and computer. Now, I think we can confidently say that most people, from the lower middle class to the rich, have every one of these items today. Look at all the stuff around you. How long do you think it would have taken you to make each individual item from scratch with no tools? Even the simple stuff like soap or broccoli or a black t-shirt. Truly has gotten cheaper and cheaper as technology got better. Economies got to expand. Everyone gets to benefit from more streamlined manufacturing, and we can continue to advance society and create more wealth. Imagine having a time machine and going back to the 1900s to tell John D. Rockefeller what you have today. That today, millions in the middle class are driving reliable Toyotas that have heated seats, radar cruise control, airbags, automatic climate control, and that can go 35 miles to the gallon of fuel for the cost of a third of the annual wage of the median American family of 3. You'll be blown away by how rich everyone is in the future. Hopefully, by now, you believe that we can truly create wealth without stepping on others, and that you no longer believe in the zero-sum fallacy of economics. And that by working together, a society can truly be beneficial for everyone to get rich together. And now back to why the stock market can potentially sustainably go up indefinitely. If you believe that the economy can continue to grow with everyone working together so that each person can do what they're good at or learn to be good at, then you do believe that the stock market will continue to rise. And by investing, you're giving companies more money to grow. And when they grow, you grow, we grow. If you think technology will advance so that we can get more done, so that we can focus on continuing to make life easier and more enjoyable, then you can believe the stock market will continue to rise as companies are able to make more money through selling good quality products that improve our lives and provide opportunities for better workers to make more good products. Now, if I have convinced you that investing in the stock market is generally good for people, hopefully you have some understanding why the rich are getting much richer. You see, when someone isn't able or willing to save much of their money, they're dependent on just one thing, a paycheck. When you depend on a paycheck, you're at the mercy of raises that are given to you. And sometimes you even have to beg just to get a modest 2 to 3% raise per year. If you are at a job where you're performing similarly for the past few years, you can generally expect your wage to go up just to keep up with inflation. When you're able to save a part of your paycheck and invest, now you're thinking like a wealthy person. The S&P 500 has gone up an average of 7 to 11% per year, depending on which set of decades you're looking at. Yes, there are years where it can be down 30% or even up 30%, but on average, there's a gain of 7 to 11% annually. And that is where the difference in wealth will be made. Let's say your salary is $50,000 a year today at age 30. With a 2% raise, you'll reach a $100,000 a year salary by the age of 65. By then, the buying power of your $100,000 is pretty much going to be the same as today's $50,000. But if you save even just $10,000 of your $50,000 salary every year starting at age 30 and invest in the S&P 500, your net worth will reach $1.7 million by age 65 after compounding interest, with a total of $350,000 of cash invested over the 35 years. And that, my friends, is how the rich are getting much richer. It isn't by taking advantage of the poor. It's by understanding and using the power of compound interest and being able and willing to invest more of their income. The stock market has risk on a day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year basis. But over the long term of decades, if you believe that the economy will continue to expand as it has, you can become wealthy too. You don't have to push anyone off of a glass bridge or trick your partner for their marbles to do it. I hate you, Squid Game. And that's all for today, my friends. Feel free to subscribe if you want to learn more. Share with a friend if you like today's episode. Happy investing, and let's get financially savvy together.